this angle, whether reviewing a movie or doing an art film for editing course.
That's right, yeah. Trying to get that, what is that, 4-to-1? I don't know, it's been a long time since I've done a cinematography ratio.
The last time I took any kind of movie class, that we were still editing with deck-to-deck VHS tape editing.
Sweet. Yeah, that's old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to... I haven't thought about this in a long time. If you wanted to make your video black and white, you had to film the monitor. This is at the Art Institute of Chicago, by the way. This wasn't like, oh yeah, I went to Auburn Film School in Central Illinois.
No, yeah.
Move up a little. It's throwing the focus off a lot. Exactly.
There we go. Oh, there's some lighting ratios. Whoa! Just move, yeah. We're doing this in our B studio.
Yeah.
My car.
Jillian needed her car. Dave and Sarah will be in their new car, so we'll find out what the lighting's like, or they will at least. We'll be at another movie later. But we're going first, though, since we have a time limit.
Backside. Can't do side to side. Okay, there we go. We've dicked around enough.
We got time.
That's
we
right.
got a little bit of time. Yeah, we got a limit before we got like 40 minutes till the next movie.
Oh, boy.
So we just got out of Chappie.
Yes.
And plot-wise, kind of a hot mess.
Yeah.
But I kind of loved it.
It's funny because I had really high hopes for this because I love high concept sci-fi. I love robots coming to life. I love the sentience. Is it a really alive type of conversation to have in sci-fi? What is consciousness? Love that stuff. Really high expectations. About halfway through the movie, I'm like, oh god, this is going to end poorly. I was really I don't know where they're going with this.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot that doesn't make any sense.
There's a lot that totally doesn't make any sense. But
there is.
In the last 30 minutes, it totally redeems itself. It's crazy entertaining.
For a majority of the movie, I found really goddamn entertaining. There was a moment when it was, I don't know, maybe a little earlier than halfway through, around when Hugh Jackman was torturing him and cutting his arms off and shit like that. Yeah. I was like, this is just kind of turning really unnecessarily unpleasant.
Just cruel and just you're right. Yeah.
And so for a while, not a while, but for a little bit there, I was like, all right, this had me at first, and now it's kind of losing me. But after that, I was really into it again. And then by the end of it, I was, despite everything going on that's kind of wrong with this movie, I was heavily emotionally invested in this.
Oh yeah. Chappie is exactly what you want him to be. It's funny because they really had him go pretty dark too. He gets
oh my god,
he gets Neil
Blomkamp wanted two things with this movie. He wanted to make a sequel to RoboCop and didn't have the rights to it, so he made this movie. And he also is a huge fan of Short Circuit 2.
And felt it wasn't dark enough.
and wanted basically to make an entire movie out of the sequence where Johnny Five joins the Los Locos gang.
That's right, yeah.
And then also the revenge climax from Short Circuit 2. Let's amp that up and make it hardcore. Yeah. It was already pretty dark and awesome in Short Circuit 2. This one, man, this movie, it borrows heavily from so many movies, but it never really made me mad about it.
No. Well, what's funny is that, in that same thing, that kind of the revenge part.
Yeah.
Because early on he watches the He-Man cartoons, and then early on they tell him you can't commit a crime, you can't hurt people, you can't do these type of things. So the gangsters convince him that by throwing ninja stars or knives into people just puts them to sleep.
Yeah.
So he doesn't actually think he's hurting anybody. And I was kind of thinking that because I don't know, kind of a trope sometimes you see with these robot things is they still won't the morality is I still won't hurt you. You can do whatever you want to me. I won't hurt you unless you force me to defend myself.
Yeah.
But then it gets to the end where he chases down Hugh Jackman and fuck all that.
That was amazing. That's comparable with Rhodes versus Bub at the end of Day of the Dead. Like, it was so cool.
Yeah, because there was none of that. I have a higher morality, so even though you would kill me and my friends, I won't hurt you. I'm gonna fucking hurt you.
Yeah, I'm gonna fuck you up, and he fucks him up.
I don't think he necessarily kills him. He's still breathing, but he fucks him up,
and it's kind of amazing.
And it's awesome.
It's emotionally, it's fucking wow. Is there emotion in that scene? Yeah. This has a really good this movie has an amazing climax in terms of action, in terms of having an emotional investment with the characters that are This movie has a climax in which characters that you've kind of grown to really like throughout this movie are slaughtered in really brutal ways. Yeah. I'm talking cut in half.
Right, yeah. One of the characters gets stepped on by the giant robot, and then it uses its giant pincer to rip him in half.
By Ed 209. Because
it's exactly what it is.
It's Ed 209. Hugh Jackman is basically Dick Jones in this, but more of a military kind of guy than Dick Jones. He's Dick Jones crossed with Schroeder from Short Circuit.
But that fits with being South Africa, because the police force is basically a military force, sort of thing. So, at least so I understand. Yeah,
where was Johannesburg?
Johannesburg, which I was saying before, the Board of Tourism for Johannesburg is not happy with Neil Blomkamp over the past, 8-9 years. He has not painted that city in a very good light. I'm sure there's probably nice parts. Never see him in Neil Blomkamp.
The offices were very nice in this movie.
Yeah, it was very nice. No, but woo, man. No, and I mean, it's.
There's some stuff about this movie that doesn't make any sense. This is like the worst company ever.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they're a military, weapons company that is just
seemingly no security.
Absolutely no security at all.
That you can just fucking walk into and just take shit.
You hear the whole MacGuffin of like a big part of the movie is that there's the only way you can program the robots is with this one little chip, and there's only one. And the lead designer guy, who creates Chappie, he takes it with him.
Dev Patel,
that's right. And then he puts it in Chappie, and then later Hugh Jackman steals it out of Chappie. Did you remember the security calls him?
Yeah.
At one point, Dev Patel, he says, you logged this out 2 days ago, and he goes, oh yeah, I forgot, I took it home. This is.
Well, bring that back, all right?
Or we're gonna tell the supervisor. Is basically all they said.
What? Hey, look, I left the launch codes in my pocket. All right, I'll bring them back tomorrow at lunch. All right, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble.
Okay, we will tell your supervisor.
Really dumb shit like that in this movie.
Right, it's like, okay, listen, you did sort of set the entire police force on fire, and the city is burning down at the seams.
Yeah.
This is going to go in your permanent record.
And let's not forget about when Dev Patel goes to Sigourney Weaver and effectively tells her he has created artificial intelligence.
And she's like, we make weapons, go away.
Look, I don't want to deal with this right now, all right? No, I'm not going to fund your artificial intelligence, if that's even a thing.
It's like, like someone at NASA running in and saying, I've actually discovered and made contact with alien life. Like, okay, we do engine components here, so I don't got time for this extraterrestrial shit, okay? Go join SETI, and then they might give a shit about this. I want those new engine schematics.
She gets rid of the conversation because he can do anything. He can paint. He can judge paint. And she's like, we make weapons. Like, we don't want something that judges paint. Like, well,
he's created life.
You're really you're focusing on the wrong part of what I'm telling you.
That's right. Okay, no, I'm not here to discuss art. I'm telling you that I've created life.
So she sends him on his way. But whatever, it's really easy to just take a fucking robot out of this place.
And then, he just grabs the robot and leaves. And, he gets to the security checkpoint. Again, it's Johannesburg, and there's military police everywhere.
Yeah.
Instead of, hey there, Mr. Designer, we have some of the most elite weaponry here in the world, on military bases in America. I understand that they have dogs or sweeps or things, just even for higher ranking officials, but we're just going to wave you through.
Yeah. Yes. It's not until the last 5 minutes of the movie that security shows up. And what is there, maybe 15 of them?
It's the same security guy that called him and said, hey, if you don't bring that back in a couple days, it's like, okay, there's fighting going on the compound. There's gunfire in the office. He's like, let's give it a minute and see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's just hang on. This is only a level 2 alert. We don't actually call in the people till a level 3 alert. It's in the code book.
And to just break down one door, they're using like the slowest table saw ever to cut through this thing.
It's a door that like has a little punch code. And like when they left. Oh boy, there it is.
Oh no!
Oh no! There it goes. Okay, I just had to push the button. Okay, when they leave and get in that room, Chappie's dragging his body in there.
Yeah.
He doesn't break the door lock. You know what I mean? He just locks the door and then runs in.
And this is while, like, every robot cop in this town is malfunctioned, so there really should be... This building should be on such high alert, but it's not.
Nope, they're like, whatever. Yeah, so, and then, nobody comes in and says, here, let me push the button. This is like trying to pry it up and say, did anybody push the open button?
And this is the same office where you can just pull a fucking gun on a guy in the office and write it off his shits and giggles.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman at one point goes up to him and, like, slams his head against the desk, puts the gun against his head, and is like saying, you need to give me that design chip. You need to give it to me so I can, finish my fabulous RoboCop robot.
Yeah.
And then he, clicks the gun because it's not actually loaded, and he laughs.
He goes,
oh, shit's a giggle.
kidding.
I was kidding. He goes,
We're gonna go to the gym later, all right?
Oh, yeah, he's like, I was having a piss. Yeah.
What?
And then everybody in the office is like, oh, him.
He just Caesar hair mullet guy with his fucking cargo pants.
Right, yeah. Oh my God! Yeah.
He looks like he should be hosting something on the Animal Planet.
He's got the Australian accent.
Yeah. because I found a lot of the characters so lovable in this movie that a lot of this shit we're talking about, I found kind of endearing about it.
I guess true. Yeah.
A little bit, to an extent.
Well, yeah, because there were the like drug dealer people that hijacked Chappie to use him as a.
They say to Dev Patel, like, all right, well, you can come back and train him, but just take off for now, all right?
Right.
I don't know why Dev Patel just doesn't tell anybody about this.
He's like, wait a second, I happen to have access to the most advanced police force on Earth.
Yeah, maybe get your fucking robot away from the Los Locos, goddammit. Like, what the fuck?
I think that his boss, like, he said, listen, I was testing something on a robot, it's been stolen by criminals.
Yeah.
Could we go get it back?
Yeah.
The boss might be less angry than if, by the way, it's now gained sentience, and it's working
else
for the
in this movie, get everything else that character does in this movie just gets them a slap on the wrist, so I'm sure he would have been fine.
That's right, yeah.
And this gang they kidnap Dev Patel, they take Chappie so they can use Chappie to perform this heist because they owe this drug dealer whose accent is so thick that he's speaking English but he needs subtitles. Right. And I actually found him actually easier to understand than the girl in quite a few scenes. Even though I did like her, but anyway, when they get this robot that has artificial intelligence, there comes a point when it's like, you know what? Fuck the heist. Maybe the guy we owe all this money to might be interested in this robot that we have now with artificial intelligence.
Right, yeah.
And then later on, towards the end of the movie, he does say, fuck the money, I want the robot.
Right, yeah. It's true. They've been this whole time getting the money, like, here, have a robot. Enjoy.
Stupid fucking criminals? They are stupid criminals. Like, the leader of them, at first, the leader of them is so unpleasant. Yeah,
and unlikable. And just really,
He's got a pretty good arc in the movie, though.
Yeah, he does.
But at first, he is so two-dimensional and just unlikable and unpleasant that I wasn't sure why no one else in his gang just doesn't shoot him.
Right. Because the girl was very, she was very like open and caring and like wanted to be nurturing to Chappie, and even like the guy who played the American guy, he was still a badass, criminal, but at the same time he was like he was
charismatic.
He was charismatic, and he understood what Chappie was. Well, he understood what Chappie was. Like, even though he was pissed that, like, we're having to train a baby here, we need a badass police robot.
Yeah.
He at least understood that if you come up and point a gun at it, that's not going to suddenly make it, which is what Ninja, the lead guy, was doing the whole time. He was just like, why isn't it working?
And he still goes along with like, all right, let's teach him a lesson. Let's just dump him out in the middle of nowhere and have him find his way. You're taking a real risk that someone's going to destroy your robot or steal it.
Or it's not going to come back, or it's going to get picked up again by its own police force, which was still active.
Yeah.
And again, talk about terrible security. Like, it's not like, because he's robot number, or scout number 22.
Yeah.
Every time, like, Hugh Jackman or Dev Patel pulls up the screen, they find him. They know where he is.
Yeah.
So there's nobody else, like, at all, that monitors where the scouts are.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just like one screen. I think
there's no tech somewhere who's monitoring the scouts and said, hey, 22 came back online.
Yeah.
Does anybody else notice this? Wasn't this one, like, set to be destroyed?
Yeah.
Like, it's just running around on its own in, like, this horrible neighborhood. Like, is this a... Do I have to, like, fill out a form or something about this? Then that same security guy comes over and says, we gotta wait, like, 6 more days before that becomes a problem.
Well, hell, later on when Hugh Jackman is controlling the Ed 209, it is just him in a room with a screen and nobody else.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's...
Because no one else apparently works in this section of the building.
No, doesn't. That's it. Everybody else is on the scout program. He's the only guy. And like, at one point they say, they say, oh, he's a former soldier.
Yeah.
Like, and that's like, he even kind of says, like, I'm just a soldier.
Yeah.
But, like, he also happens to be an extremely gifted robotic engineer.
Yeah.
Because apparently, you're right, he designed, built, maintained, and controls this robot completely by himself.
Yeah. And it gets destroyed really quick.
And then, it's, oh God, that was the thing, too, is it's they say the scouts are, basically indestructible.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason Chappie gets damaged is because he gets hit by a friggin' missile.
Yeah.
In the chest. So yeah, the Moose, which is what they call the big, RoboCop looking, knockoff, is also supposed to be indestructible.
Yeah.
They're completely indestructible.
Couple grenades.
Not even that.
Yeah.
The guy took his pistol.
Oh, yeah.
And shot out its optics. It had the little camera. It shot it out. It's like, okay, so you put bulletproof everything all over the rest of it, except the one part that helps you see. That's the one part you don't put any bulletproof part on. It's like that's
But damn, it was a good fight scene.
It was great. I mean, it was great, but at the same time, I'm just saying that it's like, really?
Oh yeah, I gotta give respect to the director in this regard, because like he made a movie that doesn't make a lot of sense. But
it was still fun to watch.
But it's incredibly well made.
Yeah.
It is. The action is fantastic. The characters are solid. The music is good. The musical score, is great. Like it isn't like throughout this movie, like I really did love the characters in it. Like when bad things happen to the robot, it's effective. Like it's like I want to see this robot just fucking get him at the end of this. Like and at the end of it, I was legitimately stressed towards the end because I didn't know who was gonna live. I didn't know who was gonna die.
And there's a ticking clock that they put in there that his battery is fused or whatever. Technobabble, you're gonna die. Basically, they could not charge his battery, so he only had 5 days to live.
Yeah.
And they use that as a way to manipulate him. The criminals say, hey, we'll go, if you help us with this heist, we'll get you a new body. He's mad at Dev Patel because he's like, hey, you told me,
Which is a really good scene.
Which is but it's a wonderful, again, this is the part of sci-fi that I love. He asks the questions, why did you build me just so I'll die?
It's basically man talking to God.
Yes, it's great. I again, that's the stuff I love. It's like, why did you build me just so I die?
There's great stuff like that in this movie, aside from the everything we talked about before. Right. There is great stuff like this in it. Like they have Dev Patel and this robot have excellent chemistry together, and this robot is a really good actor. Like it's a great performance from this robot, and Dev Patel is really fucking good in this. Because he is asking of Dev Patel as if Dev Patel is God, and he just doesn't know the answers to any of these. So Chappie effectively has to
come up with his own solution, and it's pretty interesting because like early on, the helmet that Hugh Jackman uses to control the thing monitors consciousness, which controls a robot. Apparently a joystick isn't enough anymore.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, he still has.
I saw that.
Again, right there with the not bulletproof optics. Yeah. We're going to pass on that for right now. But Chappie, and this is, again, because you're right, it's a total mess, because there's like 4 or 5 different stories going on.
Yeah.
There's, will Hugh Jackman get the funding for his robot? Will they be able to pull off the heist? Will Dev Patel be able to get there and stop it from, will they get the money to go back to that, evil guy? There's lots of stories going on.
In the last half hour, it all really came together for me.
It did, but where they're at this certain point was that Chappie realizes that this consciousness helmet was something significant.
Yeah.
And so he takes it against Dev Patel's order. He says, you can't take it. We don't know what consciousness is, so we can't just move you to a new body. So anyway, he takes the helmet, and then that's when all shit breaks down. Hugh Jackman stops all the police robots, and then suddenly the world's on fire. So, but what it leads up to is, Chappie's only got just a tiny bit of battery life yet. There's the huge battle, and it's awesome. It's incredible. You see,
it's really good.
You see, really good characters die, including the girl who is basically
just pummeled with bullets.
Right. And again, it's a rated R movie, so it's really visceral, and you get the actual. But she has basically become his mommy. Chappie calls her mommy. Yeah. So, she dies, and then Dev Patel gets hit, and so he realizes that he can take their consciousness and move it into a robot body, just like what we did with him. Yeah. So it's this great scene of they get to the warehouse again. There's the one robot body. Yeah. And he puts Dev Patel's consciousness in this new body, and then what's interesting is that it brought up that wonderful moment for dramatic tension of there's only one body left. Yeah. Chappie's about to die. His battery's about to die, but does he give it to the new body, to his maker, to his creator? And it's funny because that's a great moment in dramatic tension of the do I sacrifice myself so I can save someone else? Yeah. Well, it's funny because he does it, but then it's like, no, wait, there's like 100 robot bodies around the city. We'll just put you in a new one of those.
It's like the writer just realized that at that point when he was writing the script.
Because it gets to that moment where it's that it's the no point of no return, where it's Chappie is this beautiful character who has life and realizes how precious life is. Decides to sacrifice his own possibility for immortality to give it to his creator. Yeah. And then it's like it happens, and it's like, oh wait, there's all these other bodies. why don't we just transfer you into one of those?
I was going along with it. If somebody's going to go see this movie and they are really if they're a really cynical moviegoer in any way, shape, or form, they're gonna hate the last 5 minutes of this movie. Right. They really are. In fact, they won't even like mommy reading Chappie, bedtime stories to sleep and stuff like that in the bed. I loved that shit.
I did too.
I loved that shit.
Because I love these stories of taking the weapon of war, and realizing its innocence, and that the consciousness, and to get really philosophical, the idea that we're all born in the same way, yet it is the things and how we're brought up in life that create bad people or good people or whatever. That's sci-fi. That's what's so good about sci-fi.
And in this movie,
is that you get to explore that through a robot, So
in this movie too, when you have this character like Chappie, and this kind of reminded me a little of Heartbeeps, in which you have these characters, robots in both movies, that basically go through a lot of years of life in a very, very short period of time. In the case of Heartbeeps, it was these two robots, they meet, they fall in love, they have a kid together, and they die within like a couple of days. In this movie, I mean, he doesn't fall in love or anything like that, but you have a character who is going from birth to realizing his own mortality, and coming face to face with that within probably about a week, maybe. I mean, a very short
5 days. That's how long his batteries last.
Is that what was it? Okay, 5 days.
So yeah, within a week. Yeah.
So you see him like at the beginning when he can't talk very well, and he's like this kind of scared animal a little bit, and then his like sort of teenage years when he gets in with the bad crowd and starts wearing bling and like talking street and everything, and like there's this amazingly hilarious carjacking montage.
Oh, it's so funny, yeah, because they said, because again, like he was given enough morality to know that crimes are wrong, so they're telling him, they say that person stole Daddy's car.
Yeah.
So he takes like a wrench at one point, goes up to this Mercedes, says, "Don't steal Daddy's car," and then he smashes the hell out of the car.
And just destroys it and chucks the guy across the street. It's really funny.
It's
there are some genuinely funny moments in the movie, boy, there's gonna be people who don't like this movie, there's good boy, are there gonna be people who don't like the ending. I dug it. Like, of course it doesn't make sense. Okay, to a point it makes a little bit of sense. I mean, not necessarily to the point to where the robot that they're putting the girl in happens to look a lot like her.
Right, yeah. That's the final thing is, the girl who's his mommy, like, he did a test with the consciousness thingy and get a backup of her. So, after not only does he save Dev Patel, he saves himself.
Yeah.
They created a new robot body for mommy and give her, and it has her face.
Yeah.
And again, talk about just no security. He hacks into the company computer, restarts all the robots, which they just did a thing before saying, by the way, we've shut down the program entirely.
Yeah.
So again, that same security guard, it's the same guy, is sitting there at his desk drinking his coffee, and then suddenly all the robots come back online and start building this new robot, and he's like, you know what? If this keeps going on for another 3-4 hours, I will have to send an email. Let's see what happens, though. You are the worst security guard ever! You are fired!
The music, the direction, the acting, the editing was so solid, and I was with it throughout every other dumb thing that happened in this movie. So when it got to the end, I was like, all right, I can't pick this time to really get mad, and I'm not really. Like, I actually kind of like this ending.
Well, it's the ending you want. You know what I mean? But that's the thing, is like, the movie took a whole lot of time to tell you how ugly and mean the world really was. And like, the point is, you could say that, oh, well, the world's ugly and mean, but, it's the sacrifices we make for the ones we love that make life worth living.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of the world's really ugly and mean, but don't worry, we can fix it with technology. We'll just put you in a new body.
Fix this shit.
It's fine.
And this has got to be taking place, not because it's got Anderson Cooper at the beginning.
It says 2016.
Okay. Damn, this is going to be a hell of a year.
Well, I was thinking about that when that happened. I was like, damn, 2016, that sounds futuristic, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound like, the wonderful, future of 2016? And then I realized, oh, wait. I'm still thinking a recent movie is Back to the Future 2, where 2015 was the future. I still think
Escape from New York, 1997. I
still think a recent movie was Independence Day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, for some reason, like, you think, name a recent movie, or like, oh, that movie came out, 20 years ago. It's like, oh my God, really? 20 years ago? It's like, no, it fucking dead.
Damn it.
Damn it.
Shit.
Oh, jeez. Or like, what was I watching? Oh, Saving Private Ryan. I was like, oh, man, this is a great movie. And it's one of the more modern war movies, like 1996 or something. Like
99, I think.
No. It was like, no, maybe
it wasn't 96.
No, it was not. Maybe it was 99. But yeah, still.
98, 99.
Point is, it's a long-ass time ago. There's kids in high school that were, that were not born yet.
What's that movie?
What's that? That's an ancient.
It didn't happen after I was born, so I don't know what it is.
Oh, God, those people. But no, yeah, it's 2016. So yeah, it's the very recent future.
I mean, that even reminds me of the fact that this movie, honestly, tonally, in terms of how really kind of brutal it is, and even brutal. Like the environment that the movie's taking place in, the gangs, how everyone talks, everyone looks. It honestly is. It could go right along with like a really gritty early '90s. RoboCop 2, Predator 2, like Class of '99 or some movie like that. It kind of, that's probably why I really liked it a lot.
Well, I mean, because he's from South Africa, and sadly, Johannesburg, and I mean, a lot of parts of South Africa are basically dystopian. You've got the very wealthy, rich class of basically ruling class of people, the colonial people that took over there. And they live in protected, gated communities.
Yeah.
and then the rest of the people live in these horrible slums.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, District 9 was a direct, you know, what was it, allegory? I don't know. Is that right? I don't know. But a story saying that, I'll be corrected. I'm sure somebody will correct me. Please do. But of saying this is what life is like for people.
Yeah.
The aliens in District 9 were the indigenous people.
Elysium did stuff like that too.
And I didn't see that one, but
this is better. I like this a lot better than I liked Elysium.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I really like District 9.
I like District 9.
Yeah. So, but that's kind of, and you know, it's sad. I think it's one of the reasons why, you know, it's I think because in those other movies, those are like, oh, this is the horrible dystopian future. It could be like this. Johannesburg is like that, you know. I mean, maybe not that. I mean, I don't know. I've never been there. He's actually from there. He's from South Africa. So by saying, you know, this is not, you know, 2030. You know, this is 2016. This is what Johannesburg looks like now. Yeah. You know, it's poignant. You know, it's poignant to say this is what people actually, you know, in a dystopian police state where gangs run wild. I mean, you know, that's pretty powerful. You know, as a message. You know, so.
And we got flying robots in this, so we'll just set it 1 year in the future.
Right,
so, yeah.
So work on that, science. I demand giant flying robots. Which I always found it kind of cute, the giant cityscape with a little flying robot in the distance.
Yeah. At least they set that up way better in this than, like, Transformers 4 when you can just fly at the end.
Oh, right.
Bye. The hell, he could do that the whole time. God damn it. Would you recommend this?
I would recommend it.
I actually would too.
I would recommend it. I mean, like, there's a whole opening sequence where you see what the scouts are supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like the police robots, like just how kind of badass the idea of having indestructible, you know, point man soldiers that are these robots and how effective and efficient they are and stuff. Again, he does awesome action sequences. He really does.
Yeah.
And it's a great action
sequence. It's a great looking movie.
Yeah, it's a great action sequence. I mean, and I just love robot stuff, you know, I just really do. Short Circuit, Wall-E, those are, you know, some of my absolute favorite sci-fi type of movies, so.
To me, it's better than the 30% it's getting on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my final thought would be, last night I saw Old Fashioned. Chappie is a fucking masterpiece.
You know what I think? I think that I should also point out that this may not be my favorite movie ever. You know what I mean? Like as far as like robot sci-fi.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but like, am I really like, wow? I mean, like, I saw Wall-E and I bawled like a, you know.
I was getting a little teared up towards the end of this.
This one, yeah, sure, but I mean, like, you know, this didn't affect me in the way that some of those other movies have.
No, Wall-E's a much better movie than
this. So like, I mean, this is, I don't even know if this is even in like my top 5 sci-fi movies, you know what I mean?
No, it wouldn't be in mine.
Or even top 10, really. I mean, it was good, I enjoyed it, but it's not like, whoa, that changed my life.
No, not at all. For me, it's a flawed movie that I kind of looked past. Like, it was fun. Like a lot of the flaws in this movie are pretty funny and pretty glaring.
Like I said, I love the way it's that one security guard who just doesn't care.
But I was so invested in the things that I really loved about it, which was the characters, the action, the story, the direction, and everything. Like I was really into it. That I honestly was able to look past a lot of shit that I'm sure a lot of people who go see this aren't going to look past.
Agreed.
To the point to where it's really affecting whether or not they like the movie. And I get it. I get it. If that stuff is really taking you out of the movie and you really don't like it because of that, I get it. For me, it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me to the point to where I can't recommend the movie.
Right, we've seen so many silly, stupid stuff in action movies or sci-fi movies or robotic things, but you know, the fundamental thing of Chappie and the fact that he loved his family, I mean, and those things, and he realized what consciousness was, and he asked the questions of why did you create me just to die? I mean, those things work. And then the action really freaking works.
Robot wearing bling, shoving around people in an office, that shit fucking works, man.
Yeah, totally.
That worked. Oh, is it time?
We have unfinished business.